I have a dream, oh, I have a dream. Red, white, and blue, fly free, fly free. I believe, oh, I believe. Will you dream with me?
Good morning, everyone out there. Welcome to Changing Times. I tell you what, this is going to be a great show. I'm Lynn Morris, and we have a special guest today, Brad Pistole. How are you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing great. We made it here.
We did. We had a little rain going on out there and traffic accidents on one of our main highways. And so we finally made it here just before the show started. So we're glad to be here and grateful. But today, this is Wednesday, October the 4th. This is show number 129. So we thank all the people that have made these shows possible and continue to faithfully watch us, and our audience continues to grow. Today, you want to maybe get some paper and pencil out, pen out. You might want to take some notes. Brad Pistole is the president of Trinity Insurance and Financial Services, and he is a retirement income certified professional. And, you know, I use him. And so I'm extremely proud that he's actually Janet and my retirement specialist and many others. And we're going to prove that here as this show goes on, that he's got many people that follow him and utilize his services. But we're going to just go ahead and just jump right into this. This retirement planning is so extremely important. And there are a lot of planners out there, but there's only a few select ones that you really need to pay attention to, because I honestly believe, Brad, you can get misled. The public can get misled. And I think a lot of people wait too late. You probably see people that wait too late.
Sure.
And, you know, with inflation and everything that's going on today, all the things going on in this world today, you actually need to start earlier, a lot earlier, and be thinking about it, planning it, and then talk to someone like you. You know, the two best people I could think that you could have would be a financial planner for retirement and a professional accountant.
Yes, absolutely.
Kind of like Ed Slott.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and we'll talk about Ed Slott after a while. But anyway, I'm going to kind of just jump right in, and we're going to talk about some topics and kind of bring out some of the information that you know. So tell us what financial services that you provide and what that means to you and to your clients.
Well, you know, we were 3 generations. My father passed a year ago. We had him he was in the financial services for 52 years. But now it is myself and my son on our team. And we work with a team that's out in Colorado. We've got about 40 people on our team out there. But in our local office, we have myself and my son, and we are both retirement income certified professionals through the American College of Financial Services. I'm also a CFF, a certified financial fiduciary, and I'm a CAS, a certified annuity specialist. So Hunter and I represent 2 different sides of the business. He's more of your risk. He's the younger guy, and he's more stocks, bonds, mutual funds. And you've got the time to build that when you're in your 20s and 30s and 40s. I'm on the insurance side of things. I'm the retirement safety planning side. And I really focus on the tax planning side of how to get the money back out of your retirement accounts, your IRAs and 401ks. And I know you were talking about this earlier. There are a lot of great financial planners out there. Most of them, and Ed Slott, America's IRA expert, will say about 95% of all financial planners are focused on the first half of the game, building your money, and they're gonna hang their hat on, I can make you more than he'll make you or she'll make you. I focus on something different than that, the end of the game, getting near the goal line. And now that when you retire, you've got to start taking that money back out. And most planners don't focus on that at all. They don't even care about that part. It's building your money and having assets under management, and then you deal with all that with your CPA on your own time. I focus on having it in the right type of accounts that will protect your assets. And then when you start taking it back out, making sure you're keeping more of it in your own pocket instead of sending it all off to Uncle Sam.
Yeah, not paying more taxes.
That's right.
Because usually most of us, I know for myself and a lot of people I know, our income is drastically cut after we kind of start retiring. And that's when you can afford to pay some taxes, but you don't want to pay a whole bunch more taxes. And so you can put that money in that you get from some of your annuities and projects that you sell, programs you sell. And I mean, it just makes sense. I mean, you don't want to be paying more tax than you need to. Well, so one of the things I want to make sure, because we talked about just as you walked in, because then we had to come on into the studio, But also Hunter does this, because we were talking about this. I think probably in the next 4 or 5 days, it's enrollment time, open enrollment time for Medicare. People that are seniors that are going to be maybe for the first time enrolling in Medicare, or
Right.
maybe you've been on Medicare for a while, but maybe you're not satisfied with the person that you're using. You have questions you never get answered or whatever. So Hunter has that under his belt too.
He does.
You can make an appointment and see him and get all the information you need. It's extremely important to pick the right program.
It is, and it's really neat. You know, most of your Medicare people, not to knock them, but Medicare is all they do, and that's great. It's very rare to have a retirement income certified professional doing your Medicare like Hunter,
Right?
because he understands all aspects of it. When it comes to the Medicare planning and your Social Security planning, those two things combined with retirement distributions can really mess up your tax situation. Your Medicare premium is based on income 2 years prior. So people that are 63, they don't realize, hey, what I'm doing right now, all my taxable income right now, that's going to affect my Medicare premium when I turn 65 and end up on Medicare. So Hunter knows and understands all that as an RICP, and he does all of our Medicare. So,
well, I think that's very good. So remember, there's thousands and thousands of people. I know one thing for sure. You don't want to just automatically keep using the same plan over and over again until you check with someone like Hunter that makes sure that your medicines haven't changed things, because sometimes insurance companies will change and you don't know it. And then you thought you had a great plan last year, and then this next year, the plan may not be the same. So that's why you need someone like that. And then the other thing I've learned is both the husband and wife don't always need the same plan.
That's right.
Because they don't take the same medicines. I mean, if they both took everything the same, then you could probably have both of them under the same company. But my wife and I are so much different. Unfortunately, I have to take diabetic medicines and things, and she doesn't hardly take anything.
Yeah.
So we don't necessarily need the same plan. So let's talk a little bit more about the retirement income certified professional. So how many people do you suspect in this country that, let's just say Missouri? That's not a lot of people do financial planning, but not very many people do this, right?
Well, this is what kind of blows my mind. You can have people, and this happens all the time, but I ask consumers to start paying attention when you're choosing someone. Mm-hmm. You may see someone on the TV, no financial designations. Hear them on the radio, no financial designations. And they have their license to sell you something, but they have no specialized training in any area. So, the RICP, Retirement Income Certified Professional, is offered through the American College of Financial Services. And it is arguably the second most respected designation there is, next to the CFP, Certified Financial Professional. And so there are a lot of different letters you can get behind your name. Right. Some of them you can do as a 30-minute class online just to stick some letters behind your name. This is an 18-hour college course that goes into 18 different core areas of financial planning, everything under the sun: stocks, bonds, mutual funds, annuities, life insurance, long-term care planning, reverse mortgages. And so someone that's gone through the RICP, they've spent significant time and expense and the ongoing certified education requirements that are there to continue to maintain that. So make sure that you're professional in whatever it is you do, that they not just can sell you something, but they have something that's keeping them ongoing training to be able to talk to you about what it is that they're trying to sell you, I guess. So, and both Hunter and I are RICPs.
Well, that's very good information. And something else, because you mentioned fiduciary a while ago.
Yes.
I just want to make sure that the listeners out there, the viewers out there today, know what fiduciary is. A lot of people don't have that on the back of their name either.
Right.
And to me, a fiduciary means that the planner, the person you're working with, has your best interests at heart. They're always going to make sure whatever decisions made is going to be your best interest. I'm not knocking people, but there's sometimes I just have wondered with people I've dealt with in the past that maybe what they sold me on some stocks and different things, mutual funds and things, maybe they were making money on that decision. It might not have necessarily been the best for me.
Right.
And that's what fiduciary means. That means that gives your clients a layer of protection that other people don't have.
I'll speak to that for a minute if it's all right. So there's a lot of people just by nature of the license they hold that says, oh yeah, I'm a fiduciary. Everybody wants to be a fiduciary now because it's a buzzword.
They know it's important,
right?
But they may not have it.
And I'll take you to another level. So the CFF, the designation is not something you just earn because you have a license. That is governed by the National Association of Certified Financial Fiduciaries. And so again, it's an exam, it's coursework, it's ongoing CE every year, and they can come in at any time and open my books and say, Lynn's a client, Lynn and Janet. Why did you offer this to them? Why did you think that was in their best interest, and show us the proof? So I'm governed by the NACFF to make sure that I'm always doing what is legally, ethically, and morally in the best interest of my clients.
Yeah.
Different level of fiduciary.
Well, extremely important. I tell you what, we've got more questions, but I just want to make a comment real quick. And this is going to show you the magnitude and importance of Brad Pistole. So Jan and I, we have a place in Florida, and I think, Brad, you've heard this story, but we go there, and we'll be there again after Thanksgiving. We were getting to the age where we had sold our company, and we were going to have to do something with our 401ks. And so we knew we had a certain time period. The company that bought us said, you're not going to get to stay in our plan, and you need to take your money out. Okay, so I'm praying about it. I'm thinking about it. We go to Florida, and this is how it works. This is how God works, okay? So we're at Denny's. We're eating breakfast, and I grab the USA Today, and I look at the first thing I do is look in the financial page section. And so that's not the first section, but the second section. And I see this article. And honestly, I thought I saw Brad Pistole, but I thought I pronounced it Pistol. I say, hey, Janet, I read this thing while we're eating breakfast. Breakfast hadn't got there yet. I'm reading this to her because I'm saying, this guy, now we know we need to find somebody to be our retirement planner expert. And I said, I'm hoping that we can find somebody like this guy because look at what he's saying. And I said, that's exactly what I believe. I said, man, this guy's smart. So this is what I say. Now we stay in Florida for about 10 days, and we go back home. And the second day I'm back in Ozark, I'm at the Sands Cafe, just a little mom and pop, just a great little cafe. And I'm sitting there with two other friends eating breakfast. Okay. And wasn't thinking about Brad Pistole. And I see four older men than me sitting to the left of me. You're not supposed to eavesdrop on conversations. But here's what happened. I hear them say, Brad Pistole. Boy, he's really good. He's really smart. He's helped me a lot. And the other guy chimes in, and everybody's chiming in. So all four of those people was using Brad Pistole. I finally said, excuse me, gentlemen, I don't mean to eavesdrop, but I said, you're saying a name that really piques my interest. I said, do you know Brad Pistole? Is he the guy that writes articles for USA Today? And they said, yeah, he's right in Ozark, Missouri. And I said, you got to be kidding me. I said, I just read an article in Florida, and I was hoping and praying I'd find somebody like him. But you say he's in Ozark? Now, I've been in Ozark since 77, and I did not know that you were there. But how God led me from Florida back to Missouri to his office. He doesn't charge when you come in and consult with him and things like that. I felt very at ease. And so that's how that got started. So that's pretty amazing.
People, I think we get caught up on, I've been on radio for 14 years, Safe Money Radio, but that's a small select group of people that are listening during that time every week. Yeah. Now it's on television and we're all over YouTube. Just go to YouTube, type in Brad Pistole. But now, like you, clients, I've got clients in North Carolina, Texas, Tennessee, Florida. I mean, all over the place. Right. But that's the first thing people see it, and they don't realize he may be right under your nose, right?
So you just brought up another great point that I was going to bring up. So let's do it now. So you're licensed in what, 2 or 3 states?
Now I'm licensed in about 15 states.
15 states. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I'm behind.
That's okay.
Okay, so you're licensed in 15 states because you travel around the country. You give talks, you attend classes, seminars with Ed Slott and all these other people. Yes. And so you are a student of the game that knows and keeps up with what's going on. Yeah. And as we were doing our trust, Jan and I just got through doing our trust and doing our will and doing about 5 or 6 other legal things at the end, towards your end of your life. That's not very much fun.
No, you got to do it.
But we got it done, and our attorney Lori Rook, who's now running for Missouri treasurer,
Right.
And so I'm really proud of Lori Rook, and might have her on my show too, and find out why she wants to get into politics. But no, so you and her consulted and things like this, and this is why you have to have these people to work. But no, so that's great. And you just mentioned being on your radio show. So you have a show called Safe Money Matters.
Safe Money Radio.
Oh, Safe Money Radio.
Yeah.
Safe Money Radio. And you've had that 14, 15 years.
14 years, starting 15 in January.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay, I knew it was right around there.
Yeah.
So, and it's on every Saturday and Sunday.
It's
right?
on 5 times a week, Saturday and Sunday.
Okay, that's when I hear them.
Yep.
Okay.
It's KSGF 104.1, and then also KWTO
560.
Yep, 560,
AM
or also
560.
FM.
Yeah.
But now, because of how the world's changed, the show is also now podcast, which is more popular for people.
Okay. And
So
is
if
that during the week?
It's anytime you want.
Oh.
When you sign up for the podcast, you can listen anytime you want. And so if you're more of a visual learner, a lot of the shows I have guests on. I've had Ed Slott on. I've had Tom Hegna on, Heather Schreiber, Social Security expert. A lot of people with their doctorates, Dr. Wade Fowl, Dr. Michael Finca, Dr. Alex Margia, they've all been on the show. Nationwide experts. And then you can watch it. So I know I'm not into all that stuff, techie stuff. Hunter does all that stuff for me. I just do the speaking, but you can sign up anywhere you can get your podcast, Spotify, Apple, all these different locations, or go to YouTube and type in Brad Pistole, and you can subscribe right there. And then you can watch all the videos or listen to the podcast of the show anytime you want.
Well, that's great. Anybody else doing a show like that many years?
There's not.
You must be the pioneer.
It's the longest running financial planning show by about 10 years in this area. And then as far as YouTube goes, well, everyone's got a podcast. But there's not anyone who has access to all the people I just mentioned.
Those people that actually know what they're talking about.
But we have some pretty incredible stories.
A great team. Well,
Yeah.
let's just lead into books. You've written a couple books.
Yeah.
And I've got both of those. So Safe Money Matters.
Right. That
is
was
the
my first one.
book. That was a best-selling financial planning book on Amazon.
Number one. Yeah.
Number one.
Yeah.
And if here's the deal. I tell people this, that, if you're watching today, I don't care where you live, if you're not licensed in one of those 15 states, I bet friends just like you in those other states.
That's
and
right.
You can hook them up and you can get the same type. But if you're in one of those 15 states, you need to use Brad Pistole. You can use him and do that. But if you call him or contact him, and we'll give you information on how to do that. I know that Lisa or Hunter or
we'll send them a book.
Send them a book.
Okay.
Safe Money Matters and Bulletproof.
Yeah.
Bulletproof is your second book. It came out about a year ago?
2021, at the end of 2021.
Okay.
And America's IRA expert Ed Slott wrote the foreword for that book.
Yeah.
And which was a great honor. And so that it came out the exact same time that his new book was coming out. And so we've done a lot of press and promos together, and I'll be more than happy to send anyone my book anytime they want free. So just give us a call.
Yeah, I tell you what, it'd be worth just reading that book. And once you read the book, either one of those books, you're going to decide if you don't have a financial planner or you haven't started thinking about retirement, you'll probably call Brad Pistole. You'll contact him because there's so much information in those books that you're going to go, wow, I do need to talk to someone like him and do that. Well, we keep mentioning Ed Slott. I would just want people to know this is the type of guy that Brad is. Just recently, just a few weeks ago, he had over 90 people, I think, at the White River
Convention Center.
Yeah. That's Bass Pro's Johnny Morris, resident of Springfield, Missouri, and probably our most famous person.
Yeah.
And you had Ed Slott there, and he gave a tremendous presentation, had people kind of spellbound the whole time, and then you just spoke at the end. But what I thought was interesting, I want people to know, there was over 90 people, and you asked the question, how many people, or maybe Ed asked the question, how many people use Brad Pistole? So Janet and I raised her hand, and that was about half, about 50%. And then the other half, when they said, how many people have never used Brad Pistole? But the other half raised their hand. So you had a crowd of about 50-50, which I think is a good ratio, because the 50% that didn't know who you were or didn't know what you do or how important that was, they looked at people like me and stuff like that, and they go, wow, yeah, he must be the real deal. And I just think that was a great compliment to you. It's I could listen to him anytime. He's pretty humorous. Now, he is a CPA.
He's a
CPA, but he kind of is a financial planning expert, and like you said, IRA expert. And
there's only one person in the world that gets the title America's IRA expert, and so you could, if you go on YouTube or anywhere online, just type in Ed Slott, you're going to see he speaks all over the world. He's somewhere speaking today. Fortune 500 companies, client groups, that sort of thing, but no one understands taxes better than him. So I'll give you a quick example. This has been since the conference. That was on September 12th. That's the first time he's ever come to Springfield. We're the first group to ever bring him in. He speaks all over the world. Well, he does these virtual and in-person, it's what's called a 2-day workshop for financial professionals. Advisors are going to it all around the country. And that's just to get their CE. Everyone's got to get their CE every couple of years, and everyone wants to hear Ed teach it. This is the manual from the most recent one that happened on.
Got a lot of information in there.
There's all the changes from the last 6 months to the tax code right there. 6 months, every 6 months we're going through it. I can attend those free because I've been a member in his group for forever as an elite advisor group. So I go get my education there. But the interesting thing, and you may have heard me say this recently, but Ed was speaking for one of your major financial firms, okay, like a Merrill Lynch. And I was on the webinar listening, and there were 2,500 advisors on that webinar listening. And in less than 30 minutes, they asked him over 530 questions regarding financial planning. And they're the experts. They could not type them in quick enough and answer them quick enough. And he had his technical consultants there answering all the questions. So even your professionals realize this is how hard it is to keep up with this stuff. And they're looking to someone like that. And we've been in partnership for 15 years. He's just, no one knows more than Ed.
That's awesome. And another thing, and we're going to be taking a break. I'm going to talk about our sponsors, but Lisa, you got a lady named Lisa. Every business needs a lady like Lisa. Okay, Lisa is basically the gatekeeper. She answers the phone virtually all the time. Sometimes you do, sometimes Hunter does, but Lisa most of the time answers the phone, and she's also licensed. She's licensed.
Too. That's very rare.
So here's the deal: she actually knows what she's helped Janet and I on some questions when you were out of the office, and so that's a plus. But when she answers the phone, you can tell that she's smiling and that she's happy. And she's very secure in what she's saying and doing. And if you need to talk to Brad or make an appointment or whatever you need to do, or Hunter, she takes care of it. That's the type of business. The only other person that I know that has a business like that is John Whittaker. John Whittaker has Susan. And every time, I mean, it's 100% of the time, when I call John Whittaker, now I could call him on his cell phone, but he's busy in meetings. And so I always go through Susan and want to know where he's at, if I can call or whatever. And she's exactly the same way. She's the same person every day. She's smiling over the phone. You can tell that she's happy, very professional, knows who I am. Will get me in touch with John. She's going to get the job done. That's the type of person, if you're running a business, you own a business, you want those people on your front end.
That's right.
Because they will definitely help you. Okay, well, don't go away, because I'm going to talk about 3 sponsors that are extremely important to us. And then we're going to go back into some more questions. And then I'm actually going to make sure that we have an email address, because you may have a personal question that you want to ask Brad Pistole or Hunter. And I want you to be able to send him an email, and I know that they will respond. Okay. They will respond. But our first sponsor is Brad Pistole. He was my sponsor on the radio program for 7.5 years that I had. It's just a great experience to do that radio program. It's more political. I like this because this is not so political, even though I'm still in politics. But I really enjoy this show and what we're trying to accomplish with people. Brad, there's so many people in this world that have no hope.
Right.
They're really in this country and around the world. There's so many people. They have many kinds of anxieties and depressions and all kinds of, mood changes, and they're struggling.
Yes.
They're struggling. Retirement planning will take a lot of pressure off of you, and you will start feeling better. So once I sold all my stock, I had a lot of stock at one time, and I made a lot of money at one time. It was better when I was younger.
Yeah.
Like you
Yeah.
say, you
Yeah.
don't want to have the stock market, lose 400 some odd points like it did yesterday if you're going to be retiring this week. Okay.
That's
so
right.
you have to kind of plan your timing out. But I used to look at the stock market every day. When I had a lot of stock, I looked every day, and I was better mood and not as good a mood. It's just gone up and down.
Yesterday would have been a bad day.
Yeah. And so, but now I'm still making money every year. I may not be making as much money as I did with the stock market, but you have programs that we actually can make an interest income. Plus the fact that I haven't lost a penny, not
Yeah.
a dollar, but not even a penny. I don't have to worry about losing money and actually running out of money before I run out of my life.
Lifetime income is a big deal.
Yeah. So honestly, that's another planned thing, thought process. If you're going to worry about your money running out before you die, you're going to never really be as happy as you need to be. You're not going to be relaxed. I mean, you're always going to be worried. Don't be worried. Sign up with somebody like Brad Pistole, and you won't do that. Ozark, Missouri. And his phone number, here's the phone number, 417-581-9222. 417-581-9222. And that Lisa lady will answer the phone, and she will take care of you. And again, I just want you to know that you can get those books, Safe Money Matters and Bulletproof, and those are well worth your time. And we really appreciate Brad's sponsorship. And the other thing that Don and I have noticed over time is that Brad Pistole is a very generous person, and he's not going to tell you what he does, but I can tell you that there's been times when Don and I have had known of a project going on somewhere in Southwest Missouri that we believed in, and we were also helping donate money. And we mentioned to Brad Pistole at times what was going on, and always he and John Whitaker were always there to help Southwest Missouri. So I really appreciate that. Our other sponsor that we've had on the show about 3 weeks ago, John Whitaker. That was a Youngblood motor group, and that was John Youngblood and John Whitaker. Well, now John Whitaker bought John Youngblood out, announced it on our program. First group of people that got to hear that announcement was on our program. And now it's called Springfield Nissan and Springfield Kia. Have two dealerships under one roof, and that's located at 3525 South Campbell. And then across the street is about 150 used cars. A lot of those cars are certified cars. There's a difference. When John comes and talks to us and talks to you all out there, he explains to the difference between a certified car, because they have had 110 points inspections. And when you drive, you may pay a little bit more, but they're usually lower mile cars, and they've been inspected. So you're not going to have to take it back to the shop in 30 days and get something repaired. Okay. And used cars are still expensive, but they're still a better bargain sometimes than a new car. And then he also talked about the new hybrid cars and stuff like that. I mean, it seems the government's still trying to force us into all electric cars. And I'm probably too old. I'm probably never going to get an all electric car. I might get me a hybrid car like he was talking about. So just really a good guy. They have been in business 45 years. The oldest family-owned dealership in Southwest Missouri. So that's really cool. And then our third sponsor is Louis Michael. And Louis is our sub co-host. since Don had been able to be here for a while. She's working in a rural hospital somewhere off of Cox, one of the Cox's hospitals in a rural area. She's a specialist, a cardiac sonographer, and that means that she takes pictures and x-rays of your heart when you've got problems. And so she's a lifesaver. She's a hero of mine. And so she'll be back someday. I know right now she's working 6 days a week, and she would love to be here on Wednesdays, but we're going to hold that spot. And then Louis was having some health issues himself this morning, so he wasn't able to come in. But he is the realtor for the firm down in Ozark, Missouri. It's a boutique realty. He specializes in helping you buy a home, sell a home. He helps you buy farmland, different types of things. And he is also an Elvis impersonator, probably the best in the country. That's what he used to do also. And he's the CEO of Choosing to Live. He's a guy that has told his story more than one time on our program, where he had a gun to his head, bullet, he had pulled the trigger, he had cocked the trigger, and then just as he was getting ready to shoot himself, God spoke to him and said, "Louis, throw the gun down." He throws the gun down. He kind of nicks himself on the leg, and it saved his life. And now he goes around everywhere trying to help other people choose life over suicide. So just a tremendous guy. So that's the type of sponsors we have. And I'm actually going to probably by January announce 2 more sponsors. That was our total that we want to have. And you're going to find out that they are home-owned local people. I don't look for big chains. I've turned down probably 6 or 7 different companies so far because they don't really fit with what I'm trying to do. And I would never recommend someone that would let you down. So I'm very careful about that. But that's our sponsors, and we really appreciate them. That's what makes our show so successful, I believe. Well, let's talk about this. You know, you've got a new retirement planning. I don't know if you want to call it device or, but tell us about that.
Well, I think it's important to have a third party that's connected to something that you do, people that have no agenda in the advice that you're going to give to people who are coming in for retirement planning advice, because they already know you have one. All right. If you're a retirement planner, obviously you're trying to give and to help people, but it's going to help you too, right? Sure. So there's a group we got connected to, Dr. Wade Pfau, who's a 3-time best-selling author. He wrote the book Safety First Financial Planning. He wrote a book that they call the Bible for financial planning, the retirement handbook that's out, and then a book on reverse mortgages. And the last name Pfau, P-F-A-U, Dr. Wade Pfau. He created the Retirement Income Certified Professional Program at the American College.
Wow.
So I sat in a lot of his classes. I kept listening to him. I started reading his books. And then I heard that he had created this research group called retirementresearcher.com. And of course, Dr. Wade Pfau, he's a smart person, has his PhD in economics. And so he's known all over the country, speaks everywhere. He had created this software called the RISA. And the RISA stands for, it's R-I-C-A, that stands for Retirement Income. I've lost my train. I was thinking RICP, but the RISA, he and Dr. Alex Margia created this together. And what it is, it's a questionnaire for people that are about to retire. Mm-hmm. They go in and take the RISA. They have to pay for it, but we provide that free of charge for our clients. It's $30 per person. Mm. So if someone comes in and they're sharing with us, we want them to go in and take the RISA, because that retirement income survey is going to allow us to, again, third party, they're asking them questions about retirement planning, their risk tolerance, their income need, taxes. It will then generate a report that we don't have anything to do with. It sends a report to the client. It sends a report back to us, and it will put them in one of 4 quadrants. Okay. If they're really aggressive, if they're more safety focused, if they're focused on retirement planning or estate planning. And that's just real good feedback created by 2 doctors. And here's what's neat. Dr. Wade Pfau is your economics. Dr. Alex Margia is a psychologist. So it's the why we do what we do with our money, and they built this together. Wow. So it's a really neat thing. And we provide that for all of our clients free. So if you're like, hey, I'd like to take the RISA and find out what I should be doing with my finances, they can call us. We'll give them a link to take it. And retirement income style awareness is what is your retirement style?
I bet you not very many people do that. Financial planners offer that service.
It just started in January, and here's what's pretty cool. We were one of their very first people to do it. I've been on their podcast. They have about 25,000 viewers to their podcast every week, and they are now all over the world. Major financial firms, huge financial firms, are now using the RISA with their advisors and their clients. We were one of the first ones to get in on it. So it's picking up steam, but we've been doing it. We were one of their guinea pigs that did it from the very beginning. And we've had both Alex and Wade on our show on the Safe Money Radio.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I think it's time, and we still got a few more questions, but let's tell the audience. By now, you've heard enough from Brad Pistole to know that he knows what he's talking about. He is a specialist in financial planning, and so how would people? I know you have other numbers that you have people,
sure,
because you give out different numbers on your radio show,
right?
So how do you want people to call you, and how do you want people to email you?
So there are a couple of different ways. So if you want the 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for the phone number, that's 866-780-SAFE, 866-780-7233. If they call into that, they could be in California, Florida, wherever. They'll take their information down and email me immediately. But if you call our office, the number you gave, 417-581-9222, we do have it. That comes to our phones also. Yeah. So we're going to get it. Yeah. You can go to our website, guaranteedsafemoney.com. You're going to see a lot of interviews with a lot of the famous people that we've talked about in the industry, but you can request an appointment or a free copy of the book on the website. And you can, of course, go to YouTube, just type in Brad Pistole, and then you could subscribe to the podcast, and then you'll get all of our updates, all of our videos and stuff. You can watch them whenever you want. So in this world of connectivity, there's all kinds of different ways to get a hold of us.
Well, I think that's awesome. We're going to give all that information again. That's why I wanted you to have a pencil and paper ready where you can do that. But we'll do that one more time before we end this show. But so if someone wants retirement planning advice, tell our listeners how they can reach you. And so we just did that.
Right.
I just forgot that I'd already done that. So,
no, that's all right.
So and you don't charge fees. I want to make sure people know that. You don't charge fees when somebody first comes in, or I mean, I've never paid a fee.
That's right.
So, I mean, I've called you up, and I've also made appointments to see you, and I've never been sent a statement.
That's right. So I'm very, very unique in the way I do things. I do not know anyone else that does it. Yeah. But when you come in and meet with me and talk with me, I'll show you how I am able to do that. But you will never pay me a fee. You'll never have a deduction from your account for our planning services. And so we'll have a conversation about that, and I'll tell you how that works.
Very good. Very good. Do you think you'll have Ed Slott back again sometime? Because
I don't know how we don't. So we actually ended up having there were a little over 100 people there.
Okay.
And we had 50 people on the waiting list to get in.
Wow.
And then everybody has been saying, are you bringing him back? Can we, could we come to the next one? So he's hard to get scheduled to come in, and I've had him on the show 5 or 6 times, but getting him to fly in and take 2 or 3 days to be here is tough. But it's absolutely our plan with the response from everyone. Today, when I get out of here and head back to the office, I have people driving in from Mountain Home, Arkansas. We're setting up their retirement plan. They had watched Ed on PBS. People don't realize he's had 5 PBS specials over the last 15 years. That's where they first heard him, and they drove all the way from Mountain Home to see him in September. And they're coming all the way up here because a specialist like this is not in their area. So we have clients from all over, but they're on their way here right now in the rain to set up their stuff because that connection was there because of Ed.
Yeah.
And so,
I tell you what, in Mountain Home, that's a good little drive. My grandparents both had businesses in Mountain Home. Yeah. My grandfather and grandmother, and it was a beautiful place. I used to go there, and my granddad take me fishing down there in some place. Of the lakes down there. So great thing. But no, so you've got people from everywhere, and but I'm really glad that you're on our show because there are people watching in all 50 states right now today. I would suspect that we've got somebody represented from all 50 states today, and around the world. We've got usually sometimes between 10 to 16 countries. Somebody's watching our show, and people have heard me say this more than one time, but one of the things that I'm still praying for and planning on is to have a telephone system, Brad, that like I did on my radio program, where people can call in. All the information you're given is so important, and the topic is so important. I would have loved to have somebody be able to call in and ask a question because it's right on their mind.
Right.
And you're the expert that could answer their question. But again, let's go one more time. How are people that have those questions and want to find out more about you and Safe Money Matters and all the things that you believe in, how do they contact you?
Have I got time for a quick story?
Yeah.
So I'll tell you an amazing one that goes with what you're saying. We had a client call in. They found us on the web and emailed us and said, hey, I want to meet with you. And I found out, long story made short, this client's in North Carolina. He had watched a video with me on YouTube. So that's the first place you can go to YouTube, type in Brad Pistole. That's Pistol with an E on the end. And that's what he had done. He couldn't remember where he watched me, but I was doing something. He ordered both my books. Then he contacted us through the website, guaranteedsafemoney.com. Later found out that he works for the American College as a professor. He has 23 different designations, including his CFP and his RICP.
Wow.
And he contacted me for help to put his plan together. He's going to retire on February the 5th, 2024, here in a few months. Mm-hmm. And here's what's amazing with what you said. He's been teaching economics his entire life. He has 23 financial designations. But when it came to his own retirement planning, he couldn't put it all together. He said, I just couldn't make it all merge. I needed an expert to help me put it all together. So we have written his plan and his wife's plan. And I have him on a podcast on October the 13th. It's going to air later, where he shares his story about how he found me from North Carolina and why he hired me as his financial professional when he's a financial professional. So just don't get intimidated. Experts need coaches. Experts need experts, right? You go to see a doctor because he's a specialist. You don't operate on yourself. You don't work on your own teeth. You probably shouldn't work on your own finances without an expert helping you because there's too much complex tax law.
Right.
So call us locally, 417-581-9222, or go to our website or YouTube. Type in Brad Pistole, you'll find us.
And what was the number that you give off of your radio show?
That's 866-780-SAFE, because we keep your money safe. 866-780-7233, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Well, I tell you what, that is awesome. So I really appreciate you, being here today. We've said this before, you've been on before, but it's been a while and we really missed you because the people need to hear this information. Don and I would always say, you're a difference maker. That's what I came up with. You are a difference maker. You're a difference maker for a lot of different reasons. And then Don would always say, if she was sitting right there where you are sitting today, she would say, you're being the change. And I would tell people that if you are a difference maker wherever you live and you're being the change, then you're doing God's work and you are making a difference in people's lives, just like Brad Pistole. There's so many different ways that you can make people's lives better. You certainly are making them better, because I can't think of anything that would be worse than worrying about what I'm going to do. You can't work forever, okay? Right. But your health won't allow you to work forever. And a lot of the people that retired, we'll say before 62, before even Social Security or Medicare, some of them people just retire. Then with all this inflation and uncertainty in the world, and even in political things, you see what things are happening that's never happened before. Right. Just like last night, we observed something that hasn't ever happened. That's right. I wouldn't have bet on that. That's why I don't bet, because it's just a strange world going on. And so you need someone like Brad Pistole that has that information, that knowledge, that he's continuing to learn and absorb all these changes, because that way you don't have to worry. Unfortunately, as we get older, we have to worry about our health too. Yeah. It seems like, there's always something. We wake up and there's another ailment. And so I've got a lot of my own friends that are struggling. We know that Hunter, I can pray for Hunter because he's got something going on. And my county engineer down there has got a serious issue going on. And we pray for all those people for God's healing and comfort. And so you got so many issues. You don't want financial planning, retirement problems in the end. And you go, wow, I waited too late. I don't have a plan. Yeah. I'm going to run out of money. And you're forced to sell everything and live in a tiny home or something like that. So, but
take
anyway,
that stress off the table.
Oh yeah. So that's one of the reasons why you're a difference maker. But next week we're going to have, I I just talked to Larry Ballard when I got back from vacation Monday, and so I think Larry Ballard will be back on with some new information. He has kind of a direct connection with God. God speaks to him all the time, and that's because God saved him from a 100-foot fall off of a motorcycle that slid off a mountain.
Wow.
And went 100 feet, and so they said he was dead. Took him a long time for the rescuers to rappel down to get him, and bring him back up, hoist him back up. But as they were hoisting him, because they said he was dead when they got there, and then God told Larry while they were pulling him up and putting him in the ambulance that he wasn't going to die. He said, "Larry, you're not going to die. I'm keeping you alive for a reason." And so during all this time, as he recovered, God started revealing to him God told him to write 3 books. So he's already written Liberty Crusade. The second book is out. So anyway, he's probably going to be on. Thank you for watching today, and we'll be back next Wednesday. Thank you.
Stays free under God, not tyranny. That's what it means.